Good evening. Welcome. My name is Obindako. Welcome. I want to share with you running a business is simply tough, especially from the beginning. Running a business is simply tough, especially from the beginning. In our country, Ghana, we say that we practice democracy, we practice free market. We say that we have freedom of choice and freedom of of practice of belief. That's why they tell us, and that makes it said that there's not much the government can control, which means if the economy is going to grow, there's a lot that individuals must do. So people like you, people like myself, who have some level of interest in business, in trying to do something with our lives, trying you have an idea, you're trying to see what you can do with that idea. Can you build a business around it? People like us, the information out there should be mature, and the psyche and the culture around what it takes to build a business must be a little bit accurate. You know, the economy, the economy, just like any other country in Africa, mainly, we are not really there yet in terms of what it takes for businesses to grow, for people who are building businesses to have a little bit, of the things that they go through, a bit less and a bit less stressful. We don't have that yet, and so you the people that we see on TV, the people that we celebrate in our country, in a free market country where we have to create all our own businesses, our own product, create a lot of employment. Most of the time, what we really have as business people are people who just build businesses out of tender kind of business. You go to the government, they give you a project, they give you a contract, all kind of machinations are done, and the next minute the person has a lot of money and he starts to build businesses. Now who will not be able to build businesses if they have free access to money that they didn't work for? And so our knowledge in terms of what it takes to go through to building a business has been hugely compromised, because most of the people that we see and the kind of businesses that they have built, if you look at the start of it, majority of them are coming from connections with government people and stuff like that. So businesses are supposed to be built with a lot of ingenuity, a lot of innovation, a lot of creativity, and in proper economies where they have tried to structure things well, where people will be people everywhere. But when you have this percentages, stack against you, then you have to understand the numbers in the place that you are trying to build the businesses. So we try to confuse achievement in business to other areas achievement. So we have a lot of people who are successful in, say, sports, for instance. So he plays for major league, he has money, we think that is very successful. We have a lot of successful people in, let's say, media or entertainment. He's a singer and things like that. So the people that we look up to and who we confuse the achievement to that of business people, it's a bit complex. So you can see that a lot of the people that we call successful are people on radio station. Somebody has opened a radio station, they're working there, and we make a lot of noise around them. Or politicians, we make a lot of noise around them. Or preachers, people on TV, And we confuse that with people who are trying to build businesses. So for us, even though we need a lot of this kind of people, business people, to create product. If you look around your room, for instance, or you look around your area, a lot of things that we are using are things that were made by business people, people who are running companies elsewhere in the world, you know. But in our country, we are trying. We are trying. We are not there yet. We are trying. And why we are trying is that we have not set the environment for people to go through the right stages of how businesses are built. You know, so we have the so-called huge people, business people, but who are just superstars, celebrities, you know, with a lot of money to spend, but who really did not work for them. Mainly, majority of them did not work for such money. And there's something about business. If you have money, if you give me 100 million now, I can go and start a bank. I can go and start an insurance company. I can start a manufacturing company. I can start all kind of companies because I have the money. But I may not be able to have the right managerial skills, the right innovation to be able to do the same thing if I had to start the business from zero. And so people like you, people like me, who may not have access to money, who may not have access to government sponsorship or government grant or connection from somewhere, we are the ones to start to think the right processes. Because if you if you don't have access to some of this money, some of these connections, and you don't have the right information on how the processes of businesses are, then you will just be motivated, but you will not have results. You will not be able to do anything because your knowledge will be a compromised knowledge, which is coming from people who most likely did not go through the processes, and so they are talking, they are teaching, and they are the people that we look up to in business, but really they didn't go through the stages, they didn't go through the dynamics. So they seem to be huge, but how they started and how they got the money and how they grew the empire, it's another whole day's discussion. So what I'm talking about is that running a business is tough, especially from the beginning, and it is tough for people who are trying to build the business with very little money, very little exposure, very little network, and you have to go through it with a lot of stamina, a lot of innovation, a lot of creativity, and you must have the right knowledge or you will give up. And I dare say that majority of the young men and women who are trying to build businesses may not have access to some of these things. And even if you have access to them, something about life is that life is fair. So they may pump you with money. You get to a point, you get stuck, and everything starts to drop because running a business, you need the right nutrients to go through the processes. You don't just have to compromise in any position. You must go through it so that you start to develop the right skill, the right stamina, the right knowledge, the right understanding to build the business one stage at a time, one stage at a time, one stage at a time. And so if you did not have that so-called opportunity and nobody gave you money, one way or the other, from the beginning, is probably a blessing. Your understanding of how a business is built is so much important. The fact that your uncle somewhere has a political connection and he gives you a contract and they pay you and they go and do it, and the next time you have 2 million, you are thinking of how to start a microfinance, how to start a cocoa farm somewhere. You think ordinarily that you understand business, but the foundation is where the problem is. How you started, the ideas, because businesses most likely in most countries who have done businesses well, who have built businesses, who are doing well, they need a lot of thinking. Yes, Jacob, there's a lot of creativity at the setting, at the background, at the beginning, from the beginning. And so when they are giving you the connection and they are giving you the contract, one thing that they are taking from you is that they are not helping you, or they are not helping me to develop the right way of starting to build a business. So you are in this country where you heard a lot of names because government people were, just pushing money on those guys, and we thought that they were business people, but they shortchanged the process. And then along the line, everything started to come down. So business is tough, and it is tough everywhere. But in our country, I would say that it's double tough. It's tough. It's tough. It's tough. It's tough, but that's how business is. That's why it's business. So when they are confusing the successes, when the guy is singing somewhere or is playing for somebody and they pay him huge money, they try to tell you that they are successful and they try to link it them. Yes, they are successful in their sphere. They are successful as football players. They are successful as musicians. They are successful as actors. But to be successful as a business person, there's a lot of load that you are thinking, and you're picking an idea that you have never tested. You are trying to build a business out of it. It takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of energy, and that is what makes it that tough. That tough, and it is not a joke. And so never compare people who are succeeding somewhere. I like the way we give ourselves accolades in our country. Everybody is a huge success somewhere. Somebody says on the radio, and the next minute they say that it's very huge. Everybody is huge. And yet, where we need help most are the areas that people are creating employment, people are creating opportunities, people are creating products to create prosperity for the country. And yet, those are the areas that we have very little understanding, especially for those of us who think that we have been given some kind of higher education. So it is, and for me, if you meet the average person, the understanding of how a business is started from the ground is a little weak, because they think that it's that smooth. It's not that smooth. It takes a lot of strength, a lot of energy to build a business. And so from the beginning, if you are doing business, or if you started a business, whatever business that you started, and you met a lot of difficulties and challenges, you are not deviating. That's really how it is supposed to be, especially when you're starting with nobody sending you free money. Free money. It will demand a lot of hard work. It will demand a lot of hard work from you. You will deal with a lot of issues. Business takes a lot of huge financial risk. Huge financial risk. Yes, don't compare your business journey and the successes that you're looking for the business for the guy who was working at a radio station who just became popular the other day, or the guy who is singing to become a popular man, or the guy who just joined political party. Because we try to confuse them. You are doing business. The journey is different. The path is different. It requires financial risk that you are taking. If I join political party, I don't have, even if I become the president and I mess the country's money up, nobody demands that I pay it back. But if you're doing business and you took somebody's money or you took a loan, if you waste that money, you would have to pay it back. So it demands a lot of risk, and the skill that is required to build a business is a lot. It's a lot. That's why you go to countries that are trying to do things fairly. The very people who are very rich in such countries are people who took risk. People who have businesses to support the source of their wealth. They have created employment. They have changed the economy. Some of them, if they decide to move their money from their country, the country will beg them to stay. Why? Because they took huge risk, financial risk, and they have become successful, and they have a lot of wealth over time. But in our country, people have money without any proof of where they had the money. They say that they are rich, but they can't prove how many people they have employed, how many companies that they have established. They just say that they are rich. And that has created a whole misunderstanding among the youth, because you may not have that kind of opportunity if it's an opportunity at all. So in countries that a lot of things are built well, they build businesses to create wealth. So when they are looking for the very rich, they are looking at those who have created opportunities through businesses, enterprise, investments. They took the risk, and therefore they've been rewarded for that. In our country, we call a lot of people successful rich, nothing to show the source of the wealth, the so-called wealth that we say that they have, because there is a lot of short change. We are just cutting corners everywhere. So people can flash a lot of things around, but there's no proof. And that's why you have the unemployment very high. So the success in business is like no other. You take the financial risk. You're going to deal with a lot of difficulties. From the beginning, there will be a lot of misunderstanding. Risk that can destroy you. Risk that can, set you off. everything. The risk that can just kill every drive that you have, financial risk. But that's business. That is business, especially if you're starting with nothing. You're a young guy, or you have an ambition, you have creativity, you have the strength, and you want to give it a shot. It will be difficult for the first 2, 3, 4, 5 years. A lot of things will come against you. A lot of things will make you think like, did you take the right decision? And if you look at the other ones who they are comparing with you, you may think that you miss it. That's why people start businesses, and the moment they start a business, the next minute everything else is going wrongly. Everything else is going wrong, and then they are confused and they think that did I take the right decision? You did take the right decision, because that is business. That's why you call it risk. There's risk involved. There's risk involved. So don't look for comfort when you start a business. Never look for comfort. Look for results. Look for strength. Look for courage. You're going to deal with a lot of things. So success in business will demand a lot of hard work. You're going to work with your mind, with your strength, with your energy. It is going to demand that, especially from the beginning. Hours of work. You cannot be lazy. This is how it is. You're going to make a lot of sacrifices. There'll be a lot of disappointment. Some of the deals will not go through. Some of the contracts will not go through. Some of the people who agree to do something for you will not go through. There will be disagreement. There will be losses. There will be debt. There will be, you owe people. There will be a lot of things that you will not be proud of. But that's business. That's why they call it risk. That's why a lot of people give up along the way. So if you are doing the right thing, if you are following through the processes, these are some of the things that you're going to meet. If you meet anybody who is doing business and who has gone through the processes, you see their successes, you look at them and you're very happy. And you think that you just reached there. You should also ask them what they endured, the things that they overcame. Because doing business is that tough. And when you are meeting the difficulties, don't let anybody confuse you. Don't let anybody lie to you. Don't let anybody tell you that the business difficulties that you're meeting, the things that you're meeting, is because some demon somewhere is doing you. There's no demon anywhere. It's business. You're trying to do a lot of things at the same time. You have to overcome a lot of things for you to see successes in business. Okay, so there will be mistakes, there will be failures. All things will come out against you. But the thing is that if you give up, then you are not meant for it. Even in countries where they have had businesses set up well, structured well, where you start the business, it's working, you test the model, it's working. The next minute, they tell you that these people can give you funds to grow your business. Even in those countries where things can be clear, have been clearly defined, businesses fail. If you put 100 business there, in 10 years, just about 5 will survive in those countries where they have a lot of data, they have a lot of training, a lot of seminars, all kind of things available for them to become successful. Yet, we go through those people go through a lot of things to even have their business to survive. Now, where unfortunately, a lot of things are yet to be set rightly, a lot of things are yet to be defined. You have to go and register the business and you pay tax before you even start to work with the money. Interest rate is that high. All kind of things are there to just kill the dream. And so, if those countries where they have been doing it, they have proper statistics as to how many businesses are started, how many of them collapse, you still have percentages stuck against the businesses at the beginning. How much more are? So you multiply by 10. If they have to start 10 businesses to fail in a year, you have to know that you have to start about 100 for you to fail in a year. And it doesn't matter. You just have to be rare. You just have to know the right approach. You have to know the right statistics, the right data, the reality on the ground, so that you will not give up. Because the thing is that it is tough. I have friends who started business a friend who started a poultry business. He did it for a year or two, and something happened, and everything else went bad. I know people who started financial institutions. They worked, they were not lazy. They went through a lot of pain, a lot of struggle. They fought every now and then. Then the business did not work. You have people who have started all kind of businesses. Some of them were fully involved and it didn't work. Some of them, they were just part-time involved and it didn't work. It should not shock you. Your pride should be the fact that you started something, even if it didn't know work, you tried. You had an idea and you push against it. Even if it did not work, you tried something. Because the reality is that starting a business is tough. And running a business is no joke. You're thinking about it every day. The moment you start that business, or your mind, like 30%, like 90% of your activities are running around the business. You're always thinking about it. You're always thinking about the next move. You're always thinking about the next customers, the next project. What is working? What is not working? Where are you going to get money to continue the business, to continue the project? How are you going to develop the things that you have to develop? You are always thinking about it, and that's the business. Okay, so it absorbs you, it consumes you, it's everything that you do. And indeed, you need that for the business to succeed. It needs constant attention, constant. You really have to become possessed with the business for it to work. And so if you didn't think like that, and you're just doing it anyhow, anyway, because most of us saw business success as, the guy had a contract and he did it, and the contract should have been 10,000, but they went behind it and made it 2 million. So the contract is 10,000, they made it 2 million, and he got a lot of money after doing it, even if he didn't do it. And then he started some other businesses. So you see those guys, and you think that business is easy. It's not like that. It's not that easy. If businesses that are built anywhere, that are thriving, businesses that are doing anywhere, that are thriving in any country, they were built out of innovation, they were built out of creativity, they were built out of hard work, sacrifices, ingenuity, discipline, financial discipline. They were built out of commitment, hope, faith, patience. That's how businesses are built. Constant learning every day, constant development. So every sector that you have, you think you have started a business, look at the vehicle of the business. Look at the industry that you have started. Is it an agro-process company that you have started? Is it a retail business that you have started? Is it a construction company that you have started? Are you manufacturing something? Maybe it's a block factory that you have started. Whatever business that you have started, it will demand a lot of hard work. Okay, and the thing is that some businesses, it is easy to study to succeed in some areas, in some businesses based on the kind of person that you are and what you go into those business with than others. So the kind of person, the skill that you have, the managerial skills that you have, the financial discipline that you have, the understanding of the industry, those things will contribute to you succeeding faster in some business than the others. And so some people will meet a lot of challenges because the business that they entered was not business that they really understood. And some other people will be seen as being successful that quickly because they were prepared, or they understood it, or the business is that much scalable. There are areas that when you start, there's not so much you can go. And so when you are pitching your business, when you're thinking about the business idea, when you have started the business, look through, is this business, does this business have future? Do I have what it takes to build that business? Am I ready to go through what I have to go through? Am I ready to build myself to succeed in this business? Because the fact is that if you are doing the right business, in which our country must demand that young men and women who are thinking of going into business or who are already in business must do business well to create employment and to create prosperity and to create opportunity. We cannot sit here and let Chinese people bring everything. I think that is an indictment. It shows that we are not up to task. It shows that we are not thinking as a people. It shows that we have given up on ourselves for Chinese people to bring everything, or for our people to go and bring everything. And we are there and we are occupied with singing and dancing, sports and entertainment, politics and religion. And the rest of the world is looking at product, creativity, innovation, how to overcome the shortage in the housing unit, how they are creating better products and better processes. They are always thinking about new technology, softwares that will solve problems, and we are occupied with everything that the world is not occupied with. And so my name is Kwabena. I am saying that running a business is tough, especially from the beginning. From the beginning, it's tough. And as the knowledge that you have on business is also going to be responsible for how you deal with the difficulties in business. the knowledge. The earlier or the faster you acquire the right knowledge, it will help you to deal with the difficulties. The difficulties may not change. The toughness from the beginning may not change, but your understanding, your skill, and the way you look at issues may improve. And the moment they improve, you'll be able to deal with the situations in the business. And so when you're going to start, or when you are starting, or when you have started, decide that you're going to do business and you are going to go through the processes and learn them well. Okay, so don't study the other person, don't go copy all the other guys who just came, did business, and they screw our country. They cheated all their way through, they bullied everybody, and they call it business. Those are not business. Those are somebody who, those are the things that somebody is doing to make money. And they think that money is the ultimate. It's not the ultimate. How you do your business is so much important. You should not be working as a business person, sweating, sacrificing the hours, and also sacrificing the future of our country. If the people that we came to meet, those who have built big businesses, if they were committed to building our country, I'm sure that we would have had competition for the Chinese and every other person who is coming to our country. But if you think of it's an opportunity to make money, then you are giving those of us who will not have access to those opportunities, so-called opportunities, bad lessons as to how businesses are built. But the reality is that running a business is simply tough, especially from the beginning. And so when you decide to run a business, or when you are in the middle of it, and you go here and your head hits the wall, you come here, somebody promised you to give you a project or a product. You went there 2 times, they were lying to you, so you gave up. No, if you have to go 1,000 times for them to give in, or if you have to contact 1,000 people, just resolve that. That's how business is. It's tough. If you have to talk to people for them to give you money for you to expand the business, and you went to one place, they didn't give you, went to another place, they didn't give you, you went to the bank, they didn't give you, everybody didn't give you, don't give up, continue to go, because that's it. Business is tough from the beginning. It is tough. So, but if you assume and you compare yourself with all the other guys who have succeeded in other areas apart from business, because the thing is that there's a lot of noise in our country as to people who have not achieved that much, but setting themselves as the standard of achievement. In countries that are serious, the people who control wealth and people who have tangible products, tangible businesses to support their wealth that they have created. In a country, people say that they are rich, and we can see what made them rich. What made them rich, we don't know. We have no idea. So free money business, free grant business has produced a generation that thinks like business is very easy. It's very easy. Some people will say that, oh, just make smart decisions, the people who are encouraging us, smart decisions. The fact is that if you're starting a business, smart decisions, smart decisions. Okay. They said work smart, don't work hard, and not with business. Those are advice for consultants. Those are the advice for people who have job. Okay, if you're going to build a business, you're going to work hard. You're going to push. You're going to struggle. You are going actually to look like you're stupid. Okay, a lot of your decisions will appear like you're not wise. Those are the realities. Go and ask anybody who has built proper reflective business, proper revenue business, where they did not get help from anybody. Go ask them how many times they pushed themselves, how many hours they worked. Sometimes whole day they will not eat. They're pushing everywhere. They're fighting. They're looking for the right way. That's how business is built. They're thinking, they're planning, they're writing, they're organizing, they're strategizing. Why? Because the resources are not there. The money is that small, but he has to do that thing. So he's thinking of leverage. He's thinking, he's planning all the time. That's how business is. And if you're thinking and planning, it takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot. There will be a lot of times that you cannot even go for the parties and the funerals and all the things that people are engaging. because you're focusing on building that business. You're focusing, and that makes it tough. A lot of the times, your decisions are not going to come out as you expected. A lot of the times, people will disappoint you, people will lie to you, people will cheat you. That's business. But you are also required to practice the right kind of ethics. Even though people are lying and cheating and running away with your money, you cannot do the same to them. Because the foundation that you're building, or the business that you're building, the foundation of it is how honest and how ethical and how truthful you are. Even though all these things are coming against you, all these bad things are coming against you, you still cannot continue to compromise on the foundation of your business. Because you're putting everything that you have into that business, your strength, your energy. And so if you sacrifice these values, you're going to build a business that will collapse on you. You cannot shortchange the resources of the country to build your business, because it's not yours. So you are going to build a business that you are going to practice what is the right thing to do. You put your country first, you put other people. You do all the decisions and the choices that you're making. You know that they're not going to hurt people, they're not going to hurt your country. You practice what is right. And that will make sure that you go through the right processes. And once you're going through the right processes, it means that you're becoming better, becoming strong. So after a while, the very things that look like difficult, they start to make sense to you, because those are the things that you actually needed to become wiser in terms of your skill, in terms of knowledge, in terms of your understanding, and to also become wiser in terms of how to manage the business, how to discipline yourself to handle the finances and everything else. So running a business is simply that tough, and you have to resolve that and work towards that. Yes, I could be. It is tough. It is tough. So resolve that. If anybody told you it's like trying to train, if you see the sportsman, let's say the boxer or the footballer, in getting up early in the morning, 3 o'clock to go and train, you can say that is joke. The boxer running around and training, it's tough. And that's how business people train. And the thing about it is that people who succeed in sports and entertainment in other areas, they have their way of success. But when you are doing business and you become hugely successful, there's a lot of benefits that will come. Money will be there, influence will be there. You create a lot of opportunities. You create wealth not only for yourself, but for your children as well, for your children's children, for the society that you work in. You become an asset. And if you look at how countries are doing this, they are doing this and they are doing them well. Our country, most businesses are not built on innovation. They are not built on creativity. They are not built from the ground up. They are built, that's why we're struggling to build strong and successful businesses. So the viewers that we have that have been able to build their businesses out of creativity, out of honesty, out of innovation, out of hard work, out of sacrifices, out of discipline, we look up to them and we have to learn from them. Because there's one thing building a business in a country like ours, and there's another thing where somebody comes from another country, maybe Europe or somewhere, and comes here and he wants to teach us how to run a business. Our environment is entirely different. They can teach us generic things, but a lot of the things that you're going to learn, you're going to learn how to work with people. You're going to learn how to manage people, how to handle the finances. There's a lot that you're going to learn as you try to learn how to build a business here. And so the best of it is that know that starting is tough, it's difficult. Many people will give up, but you don't have to give up. If you're aware, if you've been conscientized that it's difficult, then you don't give up. So when you start and everything shows that, maybe sometimes when you start it's very, it looks nice. And then 3 months along the line, everything else starts to turn around, and it's like, maybe you think that it's demonic, like the way we think in our country. Everything that is difficult is demonic. Everything that is tough is, it's satanic. Somebody else is against you somewhere. It is part of the process. Business is generally tough. You have to be robust. You have to be strong to withstand, because it's exhausting. It takes a lot of effort to build that business. And so don't compromise. Go through it. And when it is that tough, most people will start to cut corners. Don't do that. Stay with the process. Stay with the process. Your quality, the quality of your wisdom, the quality of your knowledge, the quality of your spirit, the quality of the skill that you're going to develop is going to be birthed out of this roughness, out of this difficulties, out of this toughness that you're going to go through. So when they start to help you everywhere, when they start to compromise and cut corners for you, what they are doing is that they're also sacrificing the very things that you need to keep the business growing, and how wide and big you can think to grow the business. And so go and study, because if you don't study, you think that you are on the wrong path. And usually it's not that you're on the wrong path, it's just that you may not have studied the part of how a business is built. And so running a business is tough, especially from the beginning. And don't compare the business success to people who are succeeding in sports and entertainment and in politics and in church. Those are different things. Business contains or comprises of all the other components. There's a vision that you're working towards. You are going to employ people. There's money in it. You have to work for people to pay you. You are going to manage a lot. There's so many complexities. There will be losses. There will be people who steal the money. People will disagree with you. There will be a lot of fight, disagreements, sacrifices. You're constantly thinking about the business. You work on this idea for 2 years. You hit the ground, and it starts to not make any sense. There's a lot of sacrifices. There's a lot of financial risk involved. This is business, okay? So if you are going through that, don't compare it with that guy who just had a job somewhere and he's being paid 1,000 or 10,000 a month. That is not a business. He has a job. Don't compare with that guy who became a politician and they gave him something. That's politics. That's not business. Don't compare yourself with that guy who became a preacher, started a church, and his church taking offering. That is different. Don't compare yourself with the singer who just became popular and singing. That's not a business. That's a talent that they're singing. Okay. For you to build a business is a system, it's a structure, it's economic structure, and structure is built with a lot of complexities. So and that's the risk that you're taking. That's why when you go through some of these countries where people are very rich, you can see that this is his business, this is his company. They are not the other ones like we have here, where it's just a politician with money. How he got his money, nobody knows. And those have one way or the other sent wrong signals to us. So when you start a business and you meet the difficulties, you think that it's just like any other thing. No, business is different. It's a complex structure. If you're just trading, that's fine. You just open a shop somewhere and you just go there and come back. That's fine. But if you want to build it as a business, you want to build it and employ 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 people and build it as a structure. That one, you're going to go through a lot of roughness. You're going to go through a lot of difficult moments, but you can never give up. You can never give up because it's business. And all the difficulties and the troubles, they are not unique with you. Anybody who has ever tried to build any business anywhere, go and ask them. There were difficulties from the beginning. There were troubles from the beginning. The ideas may not work. The people may disappoint you. The money may not work. The project may not come true. The product that you're importing or you're developing probably got you into bad difficulties, all kind of things will happen. But with hard work, with determination, with long hours of work, with sacrifices, with your ability to handle disappointment and disagreement and losses and debt, mistakes and failures, when you continue to handle this, they will come every day, come from left, right, center, back, everywhere. Sometimes 10 of them can come at a time. Continue to grow. After a while, you'll be able to build a system that even though those things will come, but this time around, they are not coming directly at you. They are coming at the system that you have built. So from the beginning, it could be tough. It could be tough. It could be tough. And if it's tough, it doesn't mean that there's any demon or anything against you. Just that is business. It's tough. It's tough. So resolve that. But you should be able to build your business knowing that what is unique with your business, and determine you're not going to look for political favors. You're not going to look for free lunch. You want to build the business gradually, one step at the other. You're going to use your network, you're going to use the right processes to grow the business. And you resolve to go through it one after the other. Because everything that you're building, that you build well, when it gets to a point, no matter what comes at you, you'll be able to withstand the pressures that will come because you went through the processes to build it well. But if they just rush you, they started to publish you, they start to publish you and they make you popular without the right foundation, when the bad winds come, which they will come anyway, and they come all the time, you will be off the scene. You'll be off the scene. So the toughness, the roughness, the difficulties at the beginning, they just build you so that you'll be able to handle all the difficulties that will come out, so that you'll be able to make the business work well. And so the difficulties, sometimes they come from the idea of the business when you are trying to test it to see if the idea is workable. Sometimes they come out of the financial, the finances are never enough. For the first 3, 4, 5 years, it will never be enough. You're going through is slacking because you're trying to test if the idea will work or the business can become big. It's never enough. You're going to do a lot of things. If that's why the people they give a lot of money to start business who have never done business before, they lose the money. Most of them will lose the money. Why? Because you're going to the ability to handle the money well is going to come from when it's not enough, but you're able to get things done. And you learn how to manage the money. But if they just push the money to you, you just do it anyhow. And if it doesn't work, you have nothing to lose because it was not your money anyway. So you never refined the wisdom that is needed to go through the roughness at the initial stages. But when you have a little and you still have to grow the business out of it, you go the extra mile to become better in terms of your thinking, in terms of your decisions, in terms of your contacts, in terms of everything that you're doing. Because when you don't have enough to build a business, you don't just dole the money like that. You don't just give the money out like that. You want to negotiate. You want to be involved in everything. You don't just accept any quotation from anybody. You don't just accept. Why? Because you know that it's not enough. And that process builds you. That process makes you accountable, disciplined, makes you trustworthy, truthful in your activities. And those are the things that are going to make sure that you become a good business person, you become successful at what you do. So when it's difficult at the moment, it's just part of life. Everything in this life is difficult from the beginning, but there is something that the business difficulty or the roughness at the initial stage give you. There's something that thing those will give you, and they give you the clarity of thought, your ability to make the right decisions with the little that you have. So everywhere in the world, people who are building automobile companies, petroleum companies, finance companies, internet companies, all the things that they're building, go around and see how they started. Most of them built the business out of what? Courage, out of vision, out of endurance, out of hard work, out of discipline. That's why they started to build their business. And when the business started to, make sense, then they had some capital coming. Most of the people here, how we start business is that somebody gets you a contract and they change the figures. And so you do one contract, you are very rich overnight. And then you start to build all kind of other things, insurance company, finance, TV station, all kind of things without the proper foundation. And then one day, everything is gone. Why? Because you did not endure the first stage. So the roughness is important. The toughness is not important. They should not break you. They should not break you. And if you fail at one business, don't worry. No matter what. Maybe you failed at that. You had a lot of debt, a lot of people chasing you for their money. You should be able to separate yourself from the troubles. Don't kill yourself because the difficulties that are coming from your bad decisions as a business person. Go back and talk to them. Negotiate. Don't worry about what they call you. Just be truthful to yourself. Be honest to yourself. Be trustworthy. Even if you explain to them and they don't get it, at least be trustworthy to yourself. Know that you are not taking anybody for granted. It is just mistakes that came, and they came to kill you, but you didn't die. So go and build another business. The thing about business is that sometimes even the business idea that you start with may not necessarily be the one that you explode in. So don't be going around looking for help. Rather, go around Look for productivity. Look for growth. Look for network. Don't compromise your values because you're just begging everybody to help you. Don't. What you need is you are becoming better at getting results with your business. And look at the business that you're doing. Is it a business that can grow? If it's not a business that can grow, all the hard work, all the long hours of work, the pain, the disgrace will not pay off because you may have chosen a business that has no future. So think about it. Look at the economic structure or look at the country that we have. What are the prospects from now to the next 30, 40, 50 years? What can you see? Which industry do you think you're prepared for it? And which industry do you think have the potential to explode and become big business? Because we cannot go through all this roughness and pain and challenges and disgrace and then we go and do something small. I don't think so. I don't think so. So look at the business. Look at the prospects of that business. If you think the prospects are not good, use the experience that you have here and start to look at something that you think can explode. Look at something that you think can explode. Is it something big? Yeah, I mean, just look, you will know. I don't know. But look at something that you can run into millions and billions. I don't think that we should struggle like that and go through all this disgrace and end up broke. No, because we were thinking small. You cannot go through the business from the beginning, the challenges and everything, and think small. The toughness is supposed to make your mind open. Open and structure. Maybe you started it on the table with all the disgrace. When you start, they will laugh at you. That's the fact of life. Some of them will tell you that because you cannot get a job, that's why you're doing it. Don't worry about it. Some of them will, parents will discourage you, friends will discourage you, family people will discourage you. It's just one of those things at the beginning. Be focused on what you're doing, but then think big. Think big. And give yourself long time so that you can endure the processes because you will need long time actually. So look at the vehicle well. If you look around, and most of our people they're looking at what second-hand car sales, all kind of things that people are doing. We are not engineering. We are not thinking beyond the box. Look at the economy. What are the industries that you think? Maybe is it farming that you can start? What is it that you think you can start that can explode? Is there some food that you can process, some agro processing? What is it? What company do you think you can do and do well? Because we don't have to waste our time building something that has no future. After we have gone through all this disgrace and pain and struggle and all the lack, because sometimes the thing is that when you start it, sometimes what to eat you may not even have it. But don't worry about it. It's a business that you're building. And so when you don't have anything to eat, drink water, pray and sleep. Tomorrow is another day. Continue to fight, but think big, think large, and never let anybody's ridicule or anybody's disagreement with your vision or even with you stop you from building your dream or building your business. It doesn't matter. They may look collected, clean, fine, drive a car. Don't worry about it. Don't compare yourself with anybody because it's rough from the beginning. Continue to get discipline. Continue to become credible and honest. Continue to take good care of the little finances that come out from the beginning. And stay out of trouble. Stay out of deals that you don't understand. Stay out of things that you're not proud of to share with anybody. Stay out of that. Try to build a business with the best of ethics, with the best of honesty that you can. And think big. And start to look for what works. And if it's working, get hands to help you and start to learn how to manage the business and how to manage people. Go through it and go through it well and never get disappointed. And if you have not tried 10 businesses, you cannot give up. If you have not worked it over 5-10 years, you cannot give up. If that one collapses, go to get another one and continue to fight. In economies that they still have a lot of businesses collapsing. So how about ours? That we have a lot of things to correct. So business success will demand that you work hard. We demand that you make a lot of sacrifices. There will be disappointments. That is very painful. People will cheat you, run away with your money, disagree with you. accuse you. Mistakes will come, failures will come. You will lose money. You will owe people. Those are all part of it. Don't worry about it. Continue to fight. Continue to learn. Learn how to sell. Learn how to sell. Learn how to sell your ideas, your product, your concept, and forever be hopeful that things will work out. And commit to learning every time. And don't listen to weak voices, not the ones from you or the ones from family or friends. Listen to voices that will bring the best of confidence in you and create an atmosphere where you, in your room, in your car, everywhere that you go, you are creating an atmosphere where you are always thinking of the business and how it is becoming. Create that environment. Never think you're a victim. Never think weak. No matter who is pushing you to think like that. Sometimes when you look at some of the mistakes, you feel like, why did I start this? The truth is that running a business is simply tough, especially from the beginning. From the beginning. So continue to fight. And never cry over your mistakes in business. Don't cry. Don't weep. Don't sit down and like, well, don't waste time on that. Separate yourself from them. Grow out of the mistakes. But the thing about it is that if you had not started, you will not have made those mistakes. And if you had not started, you will not be where you are today. And you're not going to go to the tomorrow today. There are a lot of people with business ideas who are just talking. They have packed them, they have done them. Some of them have even bound them, and they cannot take one step. So if you're able to take that step, you have courage. So don't let anything drop you. Continue to think how that business can become big. The roughness, everybody goes through that. Running it is tough. It's not a job. Running a business is so much different from being employed. Running a business is so much different from having a church that you're a pastor. Running a business is so much different from becoming a politician and getting a political appointment or even a president. Running a business, you are responsible for all the losses. Okay? So if anybody makes mistakes on your business, you are responsible for the mess. If you take anybody's money, they will come for it. There's financial risk, there's financial implication, and you are responsible for that. So running a business is different from somebody singing and acting. That's not business, that's acting. When they are singing music and they get some money, then they want to start a business, forget. That's not it. Okay? That's why most of them cannot run business, because running a business is entirely different. It's a skill that is built over time. If you look at people who go into retirement, they start business with their savings, you see they lose it, because it's not the money that you're starting the business with, it's the skill that you have developed, the buoyancy that you have developed, the strength, the courage, the masterfulness that the skills that you have mastered. Those are the things that are going to make the business successful. And most of them, they are in their retirement, they save some money, they want to start a poultry farm, they will lose it. If you put 1,000, then maybe 1 or 2 will succeed. Why? Because running a business is tough. It's not a joke. And this is not to scare anybody. It's just the reality so that you prepare yourself for it. So if you're in the middle of it and you want to give up, don't give up. Try again. There's a lot that you have learned that a lot of people will never learn. So if you start to sell something, maybe you're producing bread or something. Look at how you can develop the market. Look at how you can multiply the sales. Whatever that you're doing, maybe you're importing things and you're selling, continue to do them. Get discipline and never let the mistakes kill you. If anybody run away with the money, go and get another one. Continue to fight. You never know. You have no idea what it can become. And when it explodes, to explode beyond your dream, beyond what you ever thought you could be. Nobody knows what you can become. Big one. If you stay with it, if you persist, if you stay, if you don't run away from the pressure, if you don't run away from the roughness, if you don't run away from the difficulties, you will succeed. And if you don't listen to the people who are saying that you're wasting your time, you will succeed. Life honors those who are productive, especially money. In countries that are doing well, creditably, those who control the money are those who have created businesses and empires, not those who are the others. If there's one thing owning a football team, there's another thing working for playing in a football team. There's one thing owning a record label company, and there's another thing singing under somebody's label. It's a whole different thing. There's one thing receiving offering to build a church, and there's another thing running a business. There's one thing becoming a minister or a government or president or something, and running the country with the country's money, the taxes. And there's another thing, building your business and being responsible for the money that comes. They are different things. The skill to build a business is different from the other areas. The skill to build a business is different from the skill to build a government, or to build a church, or to sing, or to play football, or to become a radio presenter or an actor. It's a different thing. It's a different thing. And so when you start your business, you cannot be listening and comparing yourself with people in those categories. You have to learn that is a business that I'm building, and I'm going to become the best at it. So I'm going to stay till I overcome the roughness. And that's how we need a lot of our young people to think. So start the business on the right note. Innovation, creativity, courage, strength, sacrifices, hard work, the ability to handle failure and mistakes, the ability to work with people, to be trustworthy, to be honest, the ability to think big and never get disappointed, and focus on that which you're building. Pay attention, be present, build it. If you have a business that is working, pay attention. Become successful at that before you start another one. Become successful and be open-minded and learn how to work with people and build team around your business. So thank you very much for watching. Running a business is simply tough, especially at the beginning. Thank you very much.